I couldn't call you Baruch also. It's 2 degrees outside. But Mitzvah Shem, we're going to work out one day that we'll have, okay, Beseder Gomer, Rabbi Say. Shalom Aleichem to everyone. Parshas Vayishlach, which the Yaakov and Esav. So let's start. So let's see the second pasuk. Vayitzav Esav leimor kos samru la'adoni le'Esav ko amar avdecha Yaakov im Lavan garti va'echar ad ata. The next pasuk is Vayilishor v'chamor tzov v'shivcha vayishlecha lagid la'adoni limtzo chen be'einecha. So says Rashi, Lo pasuk hey garti lo naseti sar b'choshev v'lager. I didn't become someone distinguished, important, rather a convert. Incha kedai lisnoti al berkot avicha. It's not worthwhile for you to hate me on the brachas of your father. Shebachane v'gvir lachecha. Sharei lo nitkaima bi. The bracha was not fulfilled. Rabbi said, when two brothers speak to each other about their father, like, just imagine you're speaking to your brother about your father. Would you say avicha or abba or avinu? You know, like when our wives tell us, your children. So that sometimes there's something that they want to. There's a message here. You know, your children really, you should take care of them. Whatever. We all know what that means. But that's between a husband and wife. Right? But between siblings, you say Abba. You know, Daddy said, Abba said, snoti al birkos avicha? On the brachas of your father? As if it's not his father? Yeah, for this point, twins, siblings? What's up, shot? But we say, again, this is just a glimpse to see how Rashi was so meduyuk in what he writes. Remember we saw not too long ago also, I'll just give you another dugma. I'll give another 2 dugmas so Rashi does this. We saw in Parshas told this. You remember Vayi Yitzchak ben Shishim Shana Belei Desoisam? That is in Perek Kafhei Pasuk Kavav. Vachichen. Okay, we're just giving a look at second Perek Kafhei Pasuk Kavav. Yitzchak ben Shishim Shana Belei Desoisam. So Rashi wants to explain what happened over the last 20 years. He got married at the age of 40. So what took till 60? So it says Rashi, 10 years he waited for Rivka to be Ruya Leheron. She was a Ketana. And the one is he said Len afterwards. You remember Chaveh? The Yud Shanim, the second 10. Tzofa v'himtim la komosha asa aviv l'sara. Did we speak about it? Yeah. Aviv l'sara? Mimanav shach. Or aviv l'imoy. Or Abram l'sara. Aviv l'sara? Meaning Yitzchak waited 10 years like his father waited for Sarah. Sarah's his mother. So how come it doesn't say l'imoy? But Rashi's always so meduik. You know, Chavah Rabbeinu Tam, the what's the name of the Sefer of the Rosh? Rabbeinu Asher? You know, he has like short comments. Orchos Chaim the Rosh. He brings down that and that we should medag in Rashi b'kol kochacha. That's what he says. You should medag in Rashi as much as you could. And then the Sefer Gdolim, Shem Gdolim of the Chidah says, brings down that he has a Messiah that the Rabbeinu Tam said. Rabbeinu Tam, the biggest Baal Tosfos, Rashi's grandson, he said about his grandfather, what my grandfather wrote in Gemara, I also could have done. But what he wrote in Chumash, I cannot match that. That's what the Rabbeinu Tam said. So why does he say, Himtim Moshe Asa Aviv L'Sara? You remember what we said shot there? I'll give you one more example. One more example that Rashi does this. He doesn't give the same, like different titles. Let's give a look at what he said. In Bereshis Perek Lamed, in that interesting conversation between Yaakov and Rachel, the Rachel said, daven for me. Right? Perek Lamed. So Rachel initially said, daven to me the way your father davened for your mother. Okay? That's what she told him. So what did he say? So what does it say there? He said, you can't compare me to my father. He had children from, I don't have children from us, you don't have. But then in Pasuk Gimel, V'yibaneh gam anochi, ma'u gam, amanu ziknecha Abraham, your grandfather Abraham, haya lebanim Hagar, v'chagal moisnav keneged Sarah. And he doesn't call her grandmother. Rachel, according to this, ziknecha Abraham, your grandfather Abraham, he had sons from Hagar, Yishmael at least, and Chagam Masam is a poetic expression, and he davened keneged Sarah. He doesn't say ziknecha, ziknetcha. Only later on it says, Amar so Yaakov Avinu replied, ziknati, my grandmother, hichnisat sarata lebeta. She brought in a concubine. So he said, okay, so she said, okay, so here's Bila. But how come initially it's called ziknecha Abraham and Sarah? It doesn't say anything by Sarah more. Rabbi said the rule is one in all these examples. The muskal rishon, how do you say muskal rishon in English? The initial, the first understanding. Muskal. Initial, meaning the initial, but not the only sahavamina, meaning the simple understanding is you call a person by his name. If you don't call him by his name, you have to have a reason for it. If that reason is not applicable, you're back to his name. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was always called Moshe. If Rashi calls him Ben Amram, there's a reason for it. There's 3 times that Rashi calls him Ben Amram. Yesh Siba. Nachon? So let's go back. Let's get what we said 2 weeks ago about Yitzchak. Yitzchak said, I'm going to wait 10 years like my father waited for his wife. The fact that that wife saw my mother is irrelevant. Because even if she wouldn't have been my mother, I would have learned from Yitzchak, from Abraham. I'm following the footsteps of my grandfather. He waited 10 years, and only then he noticed there was a problem. I'm also going to wait 10 years. The fact that the woman that he waited for is his spouse, was your mother, or could have been another wife, mach nicht noise. That doesn't make any difference. So why should Rashi call so? Why should it be called? Why should he say Aviv le'imoy? Why are you calling Sarah imoy? It's not a din in her. It's a din in Abraham that he waited 10 years for his spouse. It's so happens to me that spouse was your mother. And if it wouldn't have been your mother, it would have been the same limud. There's no reason to call her Ima. So Rashi says, Sarah. Hi, how come Abraham is called Aviv? Because he's following the footsteps of his father. It's the Messiah in the family. I'm following what my father did. My father waited 10 years to see if there'll be a pregnancy. I'm also going to wait 10 years. So that's what he answered. That's what Yaakov answered next stage.
No, but in the case of Yitzchak.
Oh, because that's what Rashi...
No, but in the case of Yitzchak...
No, he couldn't take...
Yitzchak didn't follow everything that Avram did.
No, but again, he says he couldn't take a Pelegish because he was an Oila Tmima. Rashi says it. Rashi deals with it. How come this he didn't do like his father? Because he's an Oila Tmima. And Oila Tmima, he found it's inappropriate for him to get married to Shevcha. Fine. But Al Kol Panim, the limit from Abraham is the way he behaved. The fact that the woman that he's waiting for was his mother... So therefore Rashi will not call Sarah mother because she's not there בתקן. איך אומרים תקן בעברית? מי פה ישראלי? אין פה ישראלים היום? Huh? It's not in the capacity of a mother. נכון מיכאל? רב מיכאל! לבדק! Okay? בסדר. הרב כדורי so awake, וואו, כל הכבוד. הרב כדורי, משהו. I shouldn't give a חס ושלום, חס ושלום. Right, חבר'ה. When a person's there, not functioning as something else, you call him by his name. אז כמו שעשה אביב לשרה. Hi, Sarah is his mother, מה זה משנה? זה לא נוגע. Similarly, when Rachel said, follow the footsteps of your grandfather. Your grandfather dominant for his wife. And by the way, it's the same couple regarding children. It's Abraham and Sarah. Your grandfather dominant for his wife, even though you already had a child from another wife. So why aren't you dominating for me? The fact that wife that Abraham Avinu was willing to dominate for is his mother, or it would have been someone else. Does it make a difference? So Rashi won't say Ziknecha. Yaakov Avinu answers back and says, listen, it's not only my grandfather that was involved in what happened there. My grandmother also played a role. she brought in a concubine. So Yaakov was say my grandmother. But when Rachel thought that the concubine's lo mala below marid, so what is she trying to bring out? Avram, your grandfather, dominant for his spouse, even though he had children from another spouse. Now the fact that that spouse is your mother, or not your mother, is lo mshaneh. So why should Rashi say titles? It's so meduik in Rashi Chavah. It makes so much sense. Similarly, let's go back to here. Yaakov is sending malachim to Esav. What is Esav upset about? Let's pinpoint what he's upset about. That the brachas did not reach him. What brachas? Of whom? Of your father. What would have been if Yaakov would have been a cousin that he stole the brachas? Would it make a difference? It will still have the same animosity towards Yaakov. The fact that he's a brother, again, doesn't play a role. I had, my father's brachas did not come. Especially Esav, that he respects his father so much. He wanted the brachas of his father. The fact that that father is also Yaakov's father, zelo mala v'lo marid. Because if Yaakov wouldn't have been a sibling, but rather a cousin, it would be the same story. You took away my father's brachas. So therefore Rashi will say, that's like Yaakov's telling him, because that's what hurts you. Now the fact that Yitzchak is also my father, it doesn't play a role. What's hurting you, what's eating you alive is that your father, that you respect so much, was planning to give you brachas, and it didn't happen. Someone else took it. The fact that there's someone else as a sibling or a cousin, does that make a difference? I'm upset that I didn't get my brachas. As I'm saying, I'm upset I didn't get the brachas of my father. I'm sorry?
You would feel it less if it was a cousin, because cousin, brother, the rivalry.
That's high-tech psychology. That's not Torah psychology. Rivalry, brothers, that's high-tech psychology. What?
Worse if it's a cousin.
I'm sorry?
It'll be worse if you gave it to a cousin. Brother, I can understand.
Okay, that's the opposite swap. So, this is psychologia. Rabbi Shapir once told me there's not 1 ounce of psychologia in Torah. Michal, I don't know if you would agree. Michal, that's your profession, right? Baruch Hashem, I'm Mavin Godel. I don't want to call you a psychologist.
I think the Chavetz Chaim sense your psychologist who came up with this wonderful idea that he says it's all in the Torah.
It's all there.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so the Chavetz Chaim thinks
So maybe that's what Rabbi Moshe meant. There's no chiddush which is in the Torah.
You know.
Good.
But what's it's Rashi's following on who Vayishlach. There's something.
It's true that was the thing, but what?
Vayishlach.
But what's bothering Esav? What's bothering him? Not, it's not only that bracha, the whole brachas. I didn't get my brachas of my father. So the fact that it's also his father is lo male. So that's what Rashi is going to say, Avicha.
It also follows the pasuk. The pasuk he doesn't mention brother at all. He mentions Adoni, Avtecha. He's not mentioning anything to do with
That it's a brother.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good swear also. I just want to add that once I told Ramesh Shapira that I told him before, I want to introduce you to a chashuv psychologist. I remember even who. So he told me a chashuv psychologist is an oxymoron. That's what Ramesh told me. Okay, I think things changed. This was a good 25 years ago, maybe even more. Okay, but here I still have a kasha for the Jewish people, and whoever answers this one, £5. Not Omer, £5 a kasha. Look at the next Rashi. Vayili shor b'chamor Abba Omar li mital hashamayim misham ne'aretz. Zu eina lo min hashamayim v'lo min haaretz. Why did it switch now to Abba and not Avicha? If anybody could say, it's Tamakasha. Forget about what we spoke about till now. In the previous pasuk Hey, it's called Avicha Shebirchani. He didn't say Abba. The next pasuk is Abba Amali Mital Hashemayim Misham Ne'aretz.
It's negative for him. He
It's-
got the bracha. He got that bracha, and that bracha didn't work to me. The one he gave me. It's in the Ramas of Rashi. It's by Hili Shara Hamar. Abba. That was my bracha.
How come he didn't say Avicha Amali? Like he said in the previous
More
Diva.
powerful for him to say Abba
Why?
because it's my bracha didn't work. By Hili, I I've got all this, which didn't work.
And if he would say,
That's not to say it was
and if he would say Avicha Amali,
doesn't really work. He's showing both extremes. My part from my father didn't work.
so you could have said maybe Avi.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't. Okay, and I hear it's not worth £5. So I'm asking.
250.
It's 50 pence. Much good say. Okay, I hear. Rabbi say, I think here we're just the Nakuda is it's a second point that Yaakov's saying. Point number one is don't be upset that your father did not bless you. And here comes the second point: these brachas don't work. And it's two separate points. Again, regarding don't hate me because you didn't get the brachas of your father. That's the point that he said before. Now it's a separate point, which is it doesn't work. Is there any need here to say Avicha?
He was also saying, don't hate me because it didn't work.
Yeah. It'd be true. But over there it's like 2 points. 100% he says it. But he says, don't be upset that your father's brachas didn't reach you. That's the point. Because. And now he's saying only the because. So I think it's along those lines. Along those lines.
I could also say that when he says Avicha, he's kind of acknowledging Esau's special relationship with their father, and he's kind of trying to sort of massage his ego to try and say, yeah, your father, as in you have that special relationship.
No, but he's saying, but
the next one, when he's saying, no, but it's just like when siblings are talking, they don't say father.
Yeah. That's
what
what. I don't think he's massaging his ego, whatever the word, because he's saying they don't work. That's what he's saying. You have this illustrious father, a little bit. I don't know if that will work with each other. But Rabbi say, okay, we still have to hammer out this point, but I think it's in the right direction. That Avicha and Rashi is extremely meduyak. But here, let's just go back again to the Nakuda that I don't know if we spoke about in the previous years. As we know, Esav is second to none when it comes to Kibbud Av. Do you think he's going to like to hear that your father's brachas are rubbish? Is that going to calm him down? Yaakov's telling him, your father's brachas don't work. Isn't that like being a little bit disrespectful? They're not worth anything. So what are you upset about? About something which is nothing? Is that something that Asa would like to hear? Does anybody want to hear that about his father? Forget about Asa, that's the superstar in Kibbud Av, second to none. Does anybody of us want to hear this about our fathers? That the brachas of our fathers are garnished with garnished? So, and Chakeda Lisnot, I'm going back to the previous Rashi, Al Birkot Avicha, Shebirchani Evegvir Lachecha, Shailon Eskaima Bi. They don't work, no.
Emphasizing B.
Oh, so the Maral, right, the guy on the spot, says a Murtik in the Kuda. Yaakov doesn't say Shailon Eskaima. Lon Eskaima B. You know what he's telling Esav? He's not going to say a statement, the brachas of your father are worthless. I think Esav would get even more upset if hearing that's how he's speaking about his father. When he had, like you said before, such a relationship with his father. He's telling him, these brachas do not interest you. Because these brachas are very, very long-term brachas. It's for thousands of years later in history. You don't care about that. That's how the Maral explains it. He's telling Esav, you don't even care about your children. Insinuating it. And there's a big aside here. You think the brachas are for now? The brachas are not for now. The brachas are going to be Shpetet Kedoros. Shpetet Kedoros means future generations. Esav, you don't care about that. And it's bringing home a point. Someone who's engaged and living a life, call it taivas, yetzaharas, whatever it is, everything has to be now. Can anybody bring me a mucker for that? That yetzahara is all about now. The Balei Musa, I remember when I was in Yeshiva, said, if you see the yetzahara is mamish, tell them tomorrow. tomorrow. And by pushing enough already, you have a very good chance of winning. Because the Yetzer Hara is always tovea kan v'achshav. Kan v'achshav. Now and immediately. What's the mucker, Rabbi say? I know one mucker, I'm sure there's others. What, I'm sorry? Not the bus, it's Yetzer Hara, it's a Malach. Malach Hashem. Slightly different identity there. I'm sorry? Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Lieutenant, I don't care about the repercussions tomorrow. Good. That's a good source. The Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadik Aleph, that Antigonus asked Rabbi, there's a fetus have a Yetzer Hara. So he answered, no, he doesn't. And he asked him, how do you know? He says, Ibaitem a krav, Ibaitem a svara. Of Keduri? Mamshichim, right? It's a kra and it's a svara. What's the kra? Ki yetzer lev adam ra min urav, mishenin ar latzet mime'imoy. When he comes out. Then he says a svara. If a fetus were to have a Yetzer Hara, you think he would wait 9 months? Haya bo'et b'me'ei imo v'yotzeh. He would kick his mother and come out. Now, we're not speaking about a fetus only in the 8th or 9th month of pregnancy that could survive. We're speaking also in the 3rd and 4th month that cannot survive. Haya bo'et b'imo v'yotzeh? It's suicide. Nachon? That's what Yetzer Hara is. Yetzer Hara is suicide. Any Yetzer Hara is suicide. Ein adam chaytel ki nichnas b'ruach shtus, Chazal say. It's an insanity to follow the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara's job is to kill us, to wipe us away. But you see from that Gemara that he would kick. The Gemara says he will not wake for 9 months. He doesn't have the patience for it for 9 months. I'm sorry?
He wants us to do a layer, it's not to kill us.
No. His job is that we should come at chai b'beis nishama. Yeah, who malchamaves? The Gemara says in the Perek Rishon B'Masra, who Satan, who malchamaves, who Yetzer Hara. They're all the same. In Farish Gemara, Amarish Lakish. They're all the same. It's a Gemara in the Babylonian Talmud on tract Bava Basra. Bava, and when you say it in English, it's Bava Basra, 16a. That's his job. His job is to do that. So Melech Rabbi say, whenever there's an urge of now, it usually means Yetzer Hara. Like peace now. Shalom Hashem. Oh, then I don't want to get into that. I thought politically correct, I'm not going to get into that now. So, okay, I want to make it clear, I'm not responding to that one. Peace, it wasn't mean peace now. We have a Sichsuch with Yishmael going back all the way to the days of Yitzchak and Yishmael, which is more than 3,700 years ago. And it's not now Abu Mazen and Netanyahu. This goes back to, now let's finish it. Just give back everything. They won't help. Now, usually it's Yetzer Hara. So Yaakov's telling Esav, it's not for now. It's for later. And if it's for later, machpat lecha. That's Mamshah the Maral of the B. It's nicht yet. The Maral also explains that it's ruchnisdike brachas, and you're not interested in ruchnisdike brachas, right? It's like as I state in the Maral. Okay, lo neskam B.
How do you see that from the Stamford?
Yeah, something along those lines. Now, here comes another yesod of the Maral. Again, whenever the Maral says something, just remember, it's connected to another 25 yesodis. I'm serious. The more I learn, and the more I see it. Everything is connected to everything. There's no, and that's like when he says one time something, he'll say it probably elsewhere because it's all connected. The word kina, which means jealousy. What's the shorish? Kuf nun aleph, and then the word to buy, to purchase, kuf nun hey. Now in Lashon HaKodesh, the first 2 letters by the Ashkenazim is kovea the shorish, especially in hey and aleph are letters which are interchangeable. Otiot ehevi, right? What's the shaykhis between jealousy and purchase?
I want it, so I get it.
No, it's not a din in person. If he's smart, I'm jealous. Nothing to do with buying.
You see it, it's not just-
It's not enough to purchase it.
The kino that you see.
The key is when you see. So I'll tell you. By the way, who says there is a shachis? Can anybody prove it to me? That there's a shachis between kina and kana? Rashi and Pashas Brachis? No kinisi? No, that's not Pashas Brachis. And what do you see from it? That's Pinchas saying, Eliyahu said, Kano kinisi. Right? I'll show you. Where does Rashi say that they are, you could change them around? Give a look at Brachis Perak Dalet. Pasuk Chaf. So on page Yud Bet in the Chumash. Vateled Oda et Yaval, Hu haya avi yoshev oil umikne. Mikne means to purchase. Says Rashi there in Pasuk Chaf. He says, first one, Hu haya rishon orei be'emot b'midbar. He was the first Bedouin, so to speak. A month here and a month there. Umet hashagoda, boine batim la'avodah zarah. He built homes for Avodah Zarah. Similar kina mekane. So Rashi understands the word mikne has to do with the word mekane. That's what Rashi says. Asks, I'll tell you soon what the Maral says over there. Now, you know why kina and mikne, why kina and kana are really related? It's not only that I want what he has. Okay, I can have it without buying it. I would want his looks, so I can't buy it. If I'm stam, if I'm not happy that he has in Eretz Yisrael, it's called a Volvo. Volvo is a very important car. Remember when you lived in Eretz Yisrael? Volvo was like, here Volvo is not so chashuv, but let's say a Bentley. Chashuv? So if I'm envious of my neighbor that he has a Bentley. That's not called kina in Lashon HaKodesh, that's called tzor zayin. You know what why kina is so much more bitter and worse? It's mine. He's taking away from me what's mine. He got shlishi. I'm supposed to get shlishi. He's taking my shlishi. He got shishi. I'm supposed to get shishi. It's on my expense. That's the oimek of every kina. Prove it. Prove it from last week's pasha. That kina's not stam. I'm envious that he has a good. And that's so sad. That's a different department. But the bitterness of kina is it's taking it from me. It's mine. It's a my cheshbon. But the kana rachel. When was she mekana? When Yehuda was born. It took her 4 years to be mekana. Today you're mekana after 10 seconds. So why 4 years? Because as Rashi explained over there that the new Ruach HaKodesh, there's 4 wives, 12 shvatim, each one will get 3. So she got her 3 quicker. Fine. She's getting 4. She's going beyond her quota. A, if anybody's supposed to go beyond the quota, it should be me. And B, maybe it's on my cheshbon, which it was, because the Ruach HaKodesh got only 2. So kina is not stam yeshlo Volvo. Oh, he has a big house. I don't know what. That's not kina. Kina means zal cheshboni. He's considered the most choshev b'bocher in the yeshiva. I'm supposed to be considered the most choshev b'bocher in the yeshiva. He's taking my place. If he wouldn't have been here, I would have been number 1. That's kina. Kina, meaning if communism would have had its way, that there's no ownerships in the world, we're all equal with everything, there wouldn't have been kina either. Kina means it's mine. Rabbi, bring me another eye for that from the Torah. Where does it say about Kodesh Baruch Hu he's mekane? Where does it say? L'gabe what? Always l'gabe avodah zarah. That's what he said. It always says l'gabe avodah zarah. The Rambam brings it down. That kina said only l'gabe avodah zarah. Says the Ramban in Parshas Yisro, I agree, but I have one reservation to add. It said only by avodah zarah of Am Yisrael. But if the guy worship Avodah Zarah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is unhappy with that, but it won't say kina. And he says, you know why? He says, Ramban, it's like a Isha Soita that says kina. And what's the kina of Isha Soita? The person says, it's my wife. Why is she with someone else? It's mine. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, feels when Am Yisrael worships Avodah Zarah. That's what Ramban says. So Mele kina means zesheli. Zesheli. This is mine now. How do you say in Yiddish? David. Mine. Just mine? Yeah. Magieli. Zesheli. Yaakov is sending a message to Esav. Ze lo shelcha. These are brachas and ruchnias. It's not your department. Ma akhpat lecha.
Is that for him to say that?
I'm sorry?
That's not for him to say. The father uses it, not Yaakov.
But he's telling what's the nature of these brachas.
That's not his husband.
Okay, fine. But that's what Yaakov's telling him. Don't feel bad because it's really something which is a totally different department. Okay? If it worked, it didn't work, it's another question. But that's what he's saying. You shouldn't be upset about brachas that anyway you have no interest in. That's what he's telling him.
Where is he saying this according to Rashi and Pasuk
Let me see the moral. Shkach. Okay, we're going out there for a break. Coca-Cola is the real thing. Can you imagine Coca-Cola is the real thing? Shem Yerachem. A drink with a little fizz, that's the real thing. Do they say it also it's the real thing in England? They don't. Oh, they do? What? It used to be. I'm all.
Pepsi has come alive. Yes, amazing.
But Chaim, why does it say Vayikana Chaim as opposed to Vayikana?
I don't know.
Chaim with Hevel.
Yeah, why? I don't know.
It was a kina.
Mistama. So why does it say Vayichar? Good kasha.
Maybe because that's why his name is Kain.
Yosha Kaniti.
He's Kaniti.
So how much more?
So
So
you don't need to describe his feelings. Is that his?
so why do you say Vayichar? I don't know. So it should say even more Vayichar, no?
You
Okay.
need to say it.
It's Pashut you want to say. Okay, good. The Baal asks, "Nim lo ken ma ba lagib es v'im toima v'chiz the covet aviv she'omer lo niskam b'bichas ami." Yes, the kasha is that called being respectful to the father? So he says, Mamash answering your question of Kaduri. V'yireh da'inu t'kama achakach davar acher garti taryag mitzvot shamarti. That's the next Rashi. Taryag mitzvot shamarti. U'ma ba lomar le'esav shekim taryag mitzvos? Why is he telling Esav I was makam taryag mitzvos? Why should that interest Esav? If you mean the brachas cannot be fulfilled, the brachas Yitzchak al pi Hashem bercho, al זה אמר תרי"ג מצוות, כלומר שהברכות שנתנו לי, וייתן לך אלוקים מטל השמיים, אין עיקר ברכה לטוב עולם הזה. It's not about עולם הזה כמו שאתה סובר, רק אלו ברכה זה הברכס על התורה. וזה עיקר הברכה, וידעתי שאתה אל תקנא בי, you won't be envious of me if these are the nature of the brachas. You're not obligated in this. It's not your cup of tea. So why should you be jealous of that? Inami, the second shot what we said before, Bilonit kaima, but it will be for my children. Good. So those are the two answers that the Mal speaks over here. Okay, Chavle. Mr. Gomen.
He said B. The brothers weren't meant for me. That's why they weren't B. And they weren't Mekayim B. If they'd come to you, it would have been Mekayim.
No, the Mal explains it differently. Shalom is meaning the point is, it's like an addition. The Olam Hazat brachas were not miskayim. Hi, it's our father. My father gave Olam Habatik brachas, and you don't care about that. What? Fine. Okay, I think it would help, but okay, we can, fine. It's a democratic country. It's Medina Demokratit. Meanwhile, no, it's not. Okay, now boys, let's go into another sugya here, which is we're going to touch it. It's mamish what we are about. Yaakov Avinu, when he hears that Esav's coming with 400 vayira vayoyma, Let's give a look at Pasuk Yud Aleph. Perek Lamed Beis, Pasuk Yud Aleph. Katonti mikol hachasadim and mikol haemes asher asis es avdecha. I'm humbled by all the chasadim that you did for me. Kive makli avarti et hayarden hazeh, v'ata hayiti l'shnei machonas. I crossed the Jordan River with my stick, and now I'm 2 camps. So, Pashup Pshat, what he's saying, look how much bracha I had. I came penniless to this country with a stick, and look at what I'm coming back with. Fine. Says Rashi, Ki b'makli. Let's give a look at that Rashi, the last Rashi in the pasuk. Lo ya'imi lo kesef v'lo zav v'lo mikne ela makli levado. I had only a staff, a stick. Umedrash Haggadah nosan maklo b'yarden v'nifka hayarden. Yaakov Avinu experienced a shtickle Kriyas Yamsuf. Okay, let's go a little bit into the Rashi's here. What's Rashi, by the way? What's the emphasis on Makli? So what's the first answer? To bring out, I came with nothing, with a stick. And now look. What's the second shot say? No. Kiva Makli about this, the stick. I used the stick. What's the lashon there? Nasan makloi beyarden v'nifka yarden. It's so strange in the second shot. The miracle is the nifka yarden, that you did it with a stick. That's the point to bring out. By the way, Yamsuf also happened with a stick, with the Mata Moshe. Does anybody mention the stick when it comes to Yamsuf? But like when we speak about Nes Chris Yamsuf, we say, "Yay, there was a stick there! There was a stick in Yamsuf, guys." It does. Teyotcha, it says. What? It says Neteyotcha. Harem Esmatcha. What? Harem Esmatcha, it says. Yeah. Again, in the Chumash that we all love and know, right? That's what it says. Now, by the way, the stick did play. Rashi mentioned in Sukkah there were the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on it. But like when we speak about Kriyas Yamsuf, did we make any notice of the stick? Kosher zivugon shel adam Kriyas Yamsuf. I know pshat. It's a stick. I don't know. A purple stick. I don't like that. Like, Mapitom, you're mentioning the stick. Speak about the Nes. The Nes is that the Yarden Nifka, you had to cross the river and a miracle happened. I did it with my stick. Psh, that's the only thing he mentions. Keep a makli about this and then. That's how it's alluding to this Nes. Is that a normal way how to allude to a Nes? With what, I don't know, technicalities you use to have it done? That's impossible. And Rabbi said, I want to ask another question on the second Pshat Rashi. How do you read the pasuk? Kiva makli about this ayah denazeh atayiti l'shnei machonos.
Chasadim starting from then, and even greater ones.
It's not the contrast. If it means like the Pshuta Shemikra, I came with nothing, well, like they say, with the shirt on his back, makli, and look now what I have. Echel, you're bringing out the affluence that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestowed upon you. But if it means I split the sea, the yarden with my stick, and now I'm shnei machonas, how does that work? How does that flow? I guess you can say something, you did me this favor, and then you did me this favor, but there's no real shaykhs between the two favors. One favor is that I used my stick to split the Jordan Sea, or river, and then the other one is, and I'm now shnei machonas.
You can say that the one was at the beginning of the journey, you did this amazing thing for me, and now at the end of the journey.
Fine. The question is the beginning and end, but it's totally two different things. They really don't connect.
What's the total? Is 2 machanas? What's the total?
I'm so wealthy. Yeah.
Bigger.
I'm big. I have 2 camps now. It's like thousands of animals and whatever. It's like it's very
I
rich.
thought he split it for safety.
No, it shows you have a lot to split. If you have only 1 cow, there's nothing with to split. Nachon? Or if you have no cows. Beseder? So the Maral says here on this Rashi, the Yisod that he always says. And Rabbi, so let's repeat it again because this is the only time that I know the Maral says on something. V'dova zehu shorish gadol, mafteach gadol, v'yisod gadol. 3 superlatives on one word. The only, I don't know any other time the Maral does that. He says a lot of times he says v'dova zehu borul amevin, and this is right. V'zeh nachon. V'dova zehu mafteach gadol, shorish gadol, v'yisod gadol. Let's go back a second to what we spoke about before, that the word mikneh is alluding to mekane. Right? That's what it says over there in Breshis. So this is a Maral that's a mitzvah lefarsim, because it answers hundreds of questions that you could have on Rashi. I promise you, guaranteed. Bemet. If not, you get your money's worth back. Bemet. The Rabbi Leon Mizrahi asks there, mekane means, mekane with a hey means mekane with the aleph? It's 2 different words. I mean, this is the hey, this is different aleph. So you know what Rabbi Leon Mizrahi wants to answer? He says maybe in their Sefer Torah was written with the aleph. Ad kedei kach. There are some Gdolei Masoros in letters. And then he asks, mekanis with a shva, and miknes with a chirik. So how could you get confused between these 2 words? Fine? Says the Maral, I'll tell you how Chazal work. Chazal never meant that the word mikne means mekane. They never meant that. Mikne means mikne, which means cattle. But if it would have meant only that, the Torah would have used a more accurate word. Tzon is more accurate than mikne. The fact that the Torah is using a different word, it's like when we talk to each other, when I tell you something, I say, yeah, and I wink with my eye. What does that mean when I'm winking with my eye? There's another message here going on, right? The Torah sometimes also is winking to us. How do I know when the Torah is winking? When the Torah doesn't use the most perfect word, and it comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is perfect, so it means it's winking. Now, how will I interpret this wink? So if I see the face of the person talking to me, I can see it the way, I don't know, he's not going to do a sign or something. He'll do something. How do I know when the Torah is winking to me? How do I know to interpret this wink? Here comes the concept, Loshan Neufel Loshan. It's winking to a similar word. Not that it's that word, but it's similar to that word, which is good enough. You know how come the Torah used the word mikneh, not the word son? Because I want to refer to something that has a similarity to the word mikneh, and that's the word mekane. It doesn't mean that mikneh is mekane. Mikneh remains mikneh. But if the Torah only would have meant pshat, it would have used the word son. Since it didn't use the word son, there's another hidden message they want to convey here. What is that other hidden message? How could I know? If it's Loshan, Neufel Loshan, Rashi says it a few times, it's good enough. It's a big yisod. By the way, Richard is not Richard, his name is Yosef, right? And Yitzchak. We have here Hebrew names. Shaloshinu. Here, it's such a big yisod. When Chazal got, you know, what he's saying is, Ein mikra yotze midei pshutoi. Chazal never said something that goes beyond the pshat. How they said at Rasha, it's a deeper understanding in the pshat. Namely, he used this cattle for Avodah Zarah. But Chazal doesn't mean, never meant that the Baal Korah, when he says mikneh, should read mekane. That's not what they meant. Mikneh remains mikneh. But it's similar to another word that I want to allude to, and I know you're alluding to it because if not, there's a more perfect word. That's a big yisod. You cannot imagine how many Rashis this helps. I'll give you a dugma. Vayichad Yisrael, that's a dugma. Vayichad Yisrael al kol ha'tova she'asa Hashem Yisrael. Remember? What does Vayichad mean? Pshat Rishon says Rashi, Vayichad means what? Vayishlach. What's Pshat Sheni? Nasa Psaro Chidudin. That he felt terrible. He had goosebumps that the mitzvah had such a mapala. According to Rashi's second Pshat, let's read the pasuk. Vayichad Yisrael al kol ha'tova she'asa Hashem Yisrael. Does it go?
Not happy at all.
He had goosebumps for the tova that happened to Israel? No, he had goosebumps for what happened to the Mitzrayim. So why does it say al kol ha'tova? Elamai, maybe it means I got to use Reb David. It means I got to use my Yeshiva Shatam. Al kol ha'tova li Yisrael means brings the bad things to the Mitzrayim. Well, that's not how it goes. How do you read the pasuk according to Rashi's second shot there? Yisro had goosebumps that the Egyptians had such a mapala. The pasuk doesn't mention anything about the Mitzrayim. It says Vayichad Yisro kol hatoiva. The Maral doesn't ask that question there, but this methodology will answer. For sure, Vayichat means Vayismach. For the word Chedva. But if the Torah would have meant Simcha, it would have said Vayismach. You know how many times it says the word Vayismach in the Torah? In Tanakh, many times. Vayichat doesn't say even once. If the Torah would have meant only happiness, it would have said a more perfect word. Why does it use the word Vayichat? To allude that chidudim, but not that meaning he was happy. Yisro was happy for the good that happened to Am Yisrael. But like a lot of times you're happy, but you're not 100% happy. There's like something inside that still fetches you. It happens sometimes. You know, like I'm happy, but if you'll do an ultrasound, you'll see there's something inside that still bothers me. Or MRI. I'm happy, but not 100%. He wasn't 100% happy with the success of Am Yisrael because he saw the mapala that the Mitzvah had. But Vayicha does not mean chidudin. It means Vayismach, even according to Chazal. But if it would have meant only Vayismach, say Vayismach. This Rabbi said it's such a rule of thumb to learn Rashi that the drash is not coming to substitute the pshat; it's coming to add to the pshat. But the pshat remains. Ein Mika Yotzim de Pshuto even after Chazal came. And the Maral says on that V'dovazu Yisod Gadol V'Shorish Gadol Mafteach Gadol. The same thing over here. What, meaning, if it just meant to say that Yaakov Avinu came with his stick, why did you say it's a Yarden? Kiba Makli about this Yarden? Kiba Makli Bati. If you only meant to say that I came with poverty and I'm leaving with affluence, so say I came with a stick and I'm leaving with two machnas. Why did you say Kiba Makli about this Yarden? Why are you mentioning the Yarden, B'chlal? So it has to mean that there's something else included in the makli. It's alluding that something happened with this stick in the Yarden. But not that that's what the pasuk is speaking about. The pasuk is speaking about how poor I came and how rich I'm leaving. But I'm also alluding to the fact that with this stick something happened in the Yarden. That's what the Maral says here. That says in the first. I'll give you a much to remember this. He said the Maral. I promise you, I know the Maral himself mentions it about 30 times in the Gemara. 30 times, and there's hundreds of times that you could use it where he doesn't even mention it. Vayichad Yisro, there's no Maral on that. It's such a murdik you said. I can tell you so many times in my life I used it. That Chazal are not coming to replace the pshat, rather they're coming to add to the pshat, but the pshat remains.
Enhance.
What? Enhance. Good. I'll give you a dugma again. I'll give you a little story that you remember this. I said it already. When Menachem Begin became Prime Minister of Israel in 1977, Ari, you weren't born yet. Were you born in 1977? Yeah. I'm a little baby. Right? Were you born in 1977? You were. Okay, good. Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll find someone. Oh, yeah, I'm Kaduri. So, Time magazine wrote a cover story about him. Very, very anti-Semitic. And I remember the cover was Trouble in the Promised Land when he became Prime Minister. And then they wrote, the article started, Menachem Begin, and writes in brackets, rhymes with Fagin.
Charming.
What?
Charming, it means.
What is that? That's coming from Dickens, right? Shakespeare? Where is it?
Charles Dickens.
Dickens. It's a Dickens. And now you could find other words that rhymes with Begin. They found that word. And the whole world, the whole Jewish world was up in arms. That's what you have to say? Begin rhymes with Fagin? It's an anti-Semitic shtoch. Everybody took it that way. Fine. When Menachem Begin came to America the first time as a prime minister, he was a very, very noble, kind of dignified person. And he had a press conference in Kennedy Airport when he just landed. He said, it's the first time I'm coming here as a prime minister of Israel to our big friend, the American people, the leaders of the democratic world. It's such a pleasure and such an honor to be here. My name is Menachem Begin, and it does not rhyme with Fagin. That's what he said. You could Google it. I'm sure you can see it. Now, b'mechilas kvod Torosai, I would tell Menachem, listen, Begin does rhyme with Fagin. I hate to break it to you. Listen, Begin, Fagin, it rhymes. You could say I have nothing to do with Fagin, fine. But to say it doesn't rhyme, it does rhyme. Fagin, Begin rhymes. That's what the Mal saying. Mekane is not Mikne is not Mekane, but it sounds like it. That's good enough. It's a lashon. That's all what the Torah wants to say. Again, how do I know the Torah wants to refer to something like that? If the Torah does not use the most perfect word, there's a reason why it's using the second best, because the second best, I'll make mileage on it, that it's referring to a word that the best word would not refer to. So Mikne is referring to Mekane. Tzon has nothing to do with Mekane.
Where's the word mikne in the parasha? Where's the mikne in the parasha?
Hu Yishev Oilu Mikne.
Are we going back to?
I'm going to there. Perek Pasuk Habet, right? Hu Yishev Oil Umikne. It's a tremendous sign. The same thing the Maharal, by the way, using the same shtickle here. Makli means I came with poverty. But if it would have meant only that, why are you mentioning the Yarden? Why are you mentioning the Yarden? No need to mention it. It's only good. But here comes the question to think about. What's the shaykhs then between coming in poverty and that the ness happened with a makil? Since it's alluding, it's not replacing the first shot. The first shot still goes on. I came with sheer poverty. My stick. By the way, with that stick that I came with, I did Kriyas Hayarden. Yeah? Mazikashul?
Isn't that a continuation of the terms in Gdolach Hasadim? Like Kodesh Baruch Hu was doing other Hasadim?
No, but it's intertwined with Makli. It's not just mentioned on its own merit. That's what the Maharal says here. Yeah. Okay, it's much later. Kiva Makli, says the Maharal, Nata Maklo, El Tetzain. Tim lo kenam limchtav Kiva Makli, ולמה יזכיר את הירדן? אלא שנתן נקלו בירדן. ומכל מקום שמינה תרתי מיני, both are learned. שמינה דנתן מקלו בירדן ונפקע הירדן, וגם שמינה מידי לא היה רק מקל. מדכתיב, אתה הייתי לשני מחונס, what will be the continuation? So for sure the main emphasis is, I came only with a stick and now I'm two machnas. By the way, with this stick I did kriyas Yarden. How does that connect? Just nochanes? So there's a gewaldige nekuda here about you know what the Medrash learns from this pasuk, this Sifri? It says V'haftas Hashem b'chol levavcha ze Avraham, b'chol nafshecha ze Yitzchak, ובכל מועדך זה יעקב, שהיה מוידה לו. היה מוידה, I have it here. The last of the Sifri, on that pasuk. אבל אז אומר, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך. זהו אברהם, בכל נפשך זהו יצחק, ובכל מועדך, הווה מוידה לו, כי יעקב, שנאמר, קטונתי מכל החסידים. This pasuk is bringing out that Yaakov Avinu is a moida. What's the touch of that, Rabbi say? Why are we called Yidden for the word Yehudah? What does it really mean? Hapam Oides Hashem, that's our name. Our name is the essence. How does that bring out our essence? We always say thank you. Go to Israel, you'll see they don't say thank you so often. Get a cook there. Thank you is not such a common word there. And they're also called Yidden. Bevadai, bevadai. Yeah. What's the touch? It's here in this pasuk. And once we'll understand that, we'll understand how the stick of the B'kiyas Hayarden, and so it's kosher be'etzim to this nekuda. I can just tell you, the Maharal says over there, in the Siv Avos Hashem, the midah of Yaakov, shaya moida ala tov shasa Hashem Yisborach, v'zeh ba mi-Avram v'Yitzchok. This Haidah is a merging of Avram and Yitzchak. Well, what does he mean? And this is what's our name. That's our name. We are called Yidden because we're Moida. Makatuf po. So we say all this and more, but I got to join Reb David. And so we say maybe next week we'll speak about this Nakuda. Do we have a minyan here, Chava? Maybe we'll have a minyan here. No, it doesn't look like it. How many did daven here? It doesn't reach 10. 6. Close, but no cigar. That's what they say in America. Rabbi said, we'll continue this Nakuda next week. It's a gewaltige Nakuda here.
Matter and Makel.
Makne and Makel?
Makler, sorry, Makel and Matter. What's the difference?
Two kinds of sticks.
We don't find by Christians it's Makel. We find it's